is one of my collaborators, and I are walking through the Tumacacori Mountains with a longtime friend, Bob Key, a member of the Southern Arizona humanitarian group, the Tucson Samaritans. Bob's been hiking these trails for years, leaving food and water for migrants, and occasionally giving first aid to abandoned border crossers that he comes across. It's a rough trail full of sharp angled rocks and angry mesquites, whose branches all seem to be aiming for your eyes. "We're almost there, I promise," Bob says. I force a smile because in the past, when he's told me this, he was lying to make me feel better. And Bob is like 65 and he runs laps around me. Almost there is one of Bob's euphemisms for 4 more uphill miles to go. However, on this day, the tone in his voice is different. He's not his normal jovial self. He hasn't been joking around, which usually involves offering to carry me on his back. It's clear that Bob is on a mission. We round a bend and stop, and Bob says to me, "This is the spot where I found the person. The sheriff's department came out and took away what we could find, but it was getting dark, and we didn't have a lot of time to go over the entire area. It was mostly arm and leg bones and some pieces of clothing. I want to see if we can find the head. That would make it easier to identify the body, because I'm sure there are still bones out here." Bob is right. There are bones the police overlooked, but we have to cover a lot of ground before we start to find them. There are pieces strewn everywhere. We walk up slope and see part of an articulated arm wedged between 2 rocks. Outside of the sinew still holding the bones together, it's been picked clean of skin and muscle by some unknown creature. Further up the trail, I notice several white flecks that stand out against the red mountain soil. It looks like someone dropped a box of blackboard chalk on the ground. I get closer and realize they are splinters of human bone, mostly sun-bleached root fragments that have been gnawed on by an animal. Just off trail, I spot a complete human tooth lying on top of a rock. This dental find gives us hope that the skull is nearby. We desperately start looking for this person's head. Rocks are overturned, animal and insect holes are probed, hands blindly grope under thick brush in hopes of finding bones that have been squirreled away by scavengers or plowed by monsoon floodwaters. Everyone is moving with great urgency despite the debilitating heat. After 45 minutes of desperately surveying the surrounding area, we give up looking. There is no skull. We do, however, come across a pair of worn-out hiking boots in close proximity to some of the bones. Where the hell is the skull? I start imagining what has happened to it. Snapshots of vultures ripping this person's eyeballs out of the sockets, or vultures or coyotes rolling the head around so they can better access brain matter through the foramen magnum easily come to mind. It's a moment when you despise the capacity of the human imagination to fill your head with 1,000 different scenarios of what could have happened. People whose loved ones have disappeared in the desert will tell you it's the not knowing that drives you insane. As we start to walk away, I notice something on the ground. I crouch down and pick up a piece of bone smaller than my fingernail. It immediately crumbles to dust. I try to hand it to Bob, and an unexpected breeze passes through and blows many of the particles off my hand. I scrape what I can off my finger and sprinkle it into a bag. It's a futile gesture. There is very little that forensic scientists can do with bone dust. This person will likely become a line in the Pima County Office of the Medical Examiner's database of migrant fatalities, and it will read: name, unknown, age, unknown, country of origin, unknown, cause of death, undetermined, partial skeletal remains. This person's identity and much of their body has been swallowed up by the desert, and there were no witnesses. Bare life has been reduced to shoes, shards of bone, and the unknown.